Bit of obviously no game last weekend. Was that, do you think, a good thing for the squad, or did it feel like you had that great momentum that you've got at the moment after 13 games? You just want to play all the time at the moment.
Yeah, you can probably look at it from both angles, but at the same time, I got a lot of good work in last week, and then kind of had Saturday, Sunday just to kind of recharge the batteries, spend a bit of time with the family, and then kind of come in this week, kind of raring to go again. Everyone kind of feeling fresh and ready to attack the game on Friday. So yeah, I think the boys are in a good place, and as you said, just looking forward now to getting back out on the pitch and hopefully keep hitting the ground running.
I was reading an article with Michael Scabala talking about when he came into the club, and yes, Lincoln always had a decent defensive record this season, but almost not quite going back to basics, but making sure there was a defensive solidity and then building in all this attacking football we're seeing. Was that, can you recognise that?
Yeah, definitely. I think from the minute the gaffer come in the building, he had kind of his principles that he was big on, but that kind of takes time to implement to the probably standard we're seeing over the last kind of 8, 9, 10 weeks. Comes out to a couple of things, probably having the same personnel that kind of are there on the pitch week in, week out. We had a lot of injuries, a couple of suspensions, so it was kind of, that played a part and probably not seeing consistency in what he was asking to be done. But then over kind of the space of working time on the training pitch and in games and kind of results kind of breed confidence as well. So when lads starting to see that it's paying off on the pitch, it just kind of gets you to reiterate it and do it even better and more often. So I think, as I said, over the last probably 8, 9 to 10 weeks that we've seen it now on a consistent basis, and it's kind of just become our identity. And as you said, you could say defensive solidity, but I think the fans will have seen, especially with our starts, that it's kind of starts in the front and they set us off, and we're just trying to get after teams and kind of attack from the front more so than being kind of too solid in maybe a mid or a low block kind of that we've seen before.
And what about set pieces? It's clearly a big part of the game. It feels like there's more creativity in the set pieces now.
Yeah, to be fair to Scotty and the coaching staff who look after the set pieces, and obviously the players to carry them out, I think we have always had an emphasis on them, but a couple of things probably maybe the first couple of months of the season just weren't going our way, be it delivery, be it timings, being kind of the blockings that we work on all week weren't kind of coming out. And then on the flip side, we kind of tweaked it. We maybe moved a couple of lads more zone on the defending set pieces, and yeah, sometimes things just click, and I feel like both boxes now are very strong. People know their jobs. Defensively, we've been very good, and as I said, then things are starting to click now when we're going forward, and we're starting to see the kind of fruits of what we do on the training pitch. And as you said, sometimes when you get on a roll, things just kind of start falling for you a bit more, and I'll be lucky to start getting a few more first contacts, and yeah, we've been lucky to capitalise on it. So hopefully going forward we can continue that.
As a leader within the camp, one of the things that must really please though is that when you've had an issue, you've had injuries, that players have stepped up. I think of Danny Mandroy. There was obviously the injuries ahead of the Barnsley game. Danny comes in, performs really well, builds on it, and it's not just him. There's other players as well. It must please that the players that we would perhaps consider in the media and the fans might say are fringe players, when they've had their opportunities, they've stepped up. Yeah,
100%. I think there's been a few like that, as you've said. Jack Moylan springs to mind as well, coming kind of when he first joined, he probably felt like he was going to get an opportunity maybe quicker than he did, but he's had to bide his time. He's trained really, really well over the last couple of months, and as you said, he gets his chance kind of off the bench at Barnsley, and he takes it with both hands. As you said, Dano the same. There's been a few, so yeah, I think that kind of probably shows what the squad have been like over the last few months as well on the training pitch. That's basically, if you're called upon, you know exactly what your job kind of entails, and the lads have done that, and it's meaning that we can, even though we've lost a couple through injuries and different things, that the next man can step up and our performance levels won't drop. And I think if you want to finish season strong and finish as high as we can, then you're going to need that, because we don't have the biggest of squads in League One, so we're relying on the lads that do step in, that they're ready to go, and as you said, they make us better.
You've been based in England for quite a while. Were you nonetheless still quite aware of Jack Moylan when he was over in the League of Ireland? I know he was joint leading scorer, obviously. Yeah. Last season we were talking to a journalist based over in Ireland from the Irish Independent, and I get a sense there's quite a lot of excitement back in Ireland in general about him, and obviously interested in how he's been doing at Lincoln.
Yeah, no, I do. I've obviously started in the League of Ireland myself, played a couple of seasons as a 16, 17 year old, and my brother has played in it as well, so we do always keep an eye what's happening, and obviously with a couple of Irish boys here as well. Last season they were obviously speaking about the possibility of Jack signing, so you do take note. And yeah, he's thought of very highly back home in the League of Ireland. He obviously has a big interest in himself and his family, so no, there is obviously a lot of excitement about him over the way he's been performing the last couple of months, and it's just up to him now to keep doing that and kind of maintaining those performance levels, because as I was kind of saying to him before, it's kind of that maybe honeymoon phase where we've all had when we first come to England and everything starts happening great, but we will have a time where maybe injuries, performance, that might go against him, and he just kind of needs to see it through and get back to those levels that we know he can play at. So yeah, obviously keep his feet in the ground and keep cracking on for the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season.
It's clearly been a great run, but I guess the message to the players and the management team, maybe from you as a captain as well, is look, nothing's been achieved, we've just got ourselves in a good position. Yeah,
I think the gaffer kind of spoke. I remember it pretty vividly. Kind of the end of January time, we picked up a couple of draws against Peterborough and Derby, and we were going into obviously a run of fixtures that we had kind of targeted that we could get a points return from. And he just spoke about getting to this stage of the season within touch and distance and giving ourselves a fighting chance. And as I said, we've done that, but at the same time we've achieved nothing. So we don't want to look back in 4 or 5 weeks' time and say that basically the performance levels of the last couple of weeks have cost us maybe getting in the playoffs. So as you said, last week was very good in terms of that, because I thought all the boys trained excellently during the week, even though there was no game, and there's obviously competitions for places as well, and there's lads coming back from injury that will want to get back in the team. So yeah, going into Friday and beyond, it's just about keeping the feet in the ground, but while having that confidence, knowing that we can go and put in big performances.
I remember the Leyton Orient game down in London. It was a difficult one. They may feel they had the chances to get ahead before Lincoln scored late on. Clearly they're going to be a tough test, but in a way it's that classic 6-pointer, isn't it? You can put a good gap on them if you get the right result.
Exactly, yeah. Look, they'll be targeting as much as we are. They'll be targeting this game as well, having us in their sights. So we know it's going to be a very difficult game. They're obviously a good footballing side. They always have been. As you said, it was a difficult game down at their place, and yeah, I know there's going to be a big crowd at the LNER. So it's just about kind of, as I said, having that confidence while also respecting the opposition, but knowing that we've full confidence that we can go get 3 points.
You mentioned the big crowd. I think there's a time of talking where we're only a handful of tickets away from a sellout. That must be exciting for the players, but also it's a great support. Obviously, isn't it? It's the whole point of the word. But ahead of a big game, to have that crowd behind you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think obviously over the last kind of 3, 4, maybe 5 home games, we've given them a lot to shout about. But over the past 6, 7 months of the season, they've still always come out in their numbers, maybe win performances, and results haven't been going our way. So it's just a massive credit to them, I suppose, that they still always come out in their massive numbers, and the atmosphere, especially off the top of my head, I'm thinking of Shrewsbury, Cambridge, Bristol. Like it's electric, especially in that kind of first half when we're looking to get after teams, and they're kind of right behind us and seeing us all the way through the game. So hopefully we can give them more shout about come the weekend.